And we're back. Welcome back. Welcome back again. This time we're on genres and tropes today. Genres we view as a stylistic category to easily describe something. So, say like action, adventure, romance, horror. Those are what we'd call genres in any industry. Tropes are something that is recurring across a genre, i.e., mad scientists being used in horror films repeatedly, or damsels in distress being used in adventure or action movies. Following on from that, I'm gonna start with different game genres that are out there. So we have FPS games. We have FPS games such as Valorant, where pretty much first-person shooter, your classic first-person shooter, mixed between. It's got a mix of Overwatch in there as well, where each player has their own abilities, and it has its ranking system. It has its own ranking system that you can rise up in I think it's every week or every month. Can't remember. And then you face off against other players, and you just keep going upwards. Then we have Osu, our rhythm game. Yeah, this game is very fast paced. You have to have an immense reaction time, and you will struggle with this game. But this is what we call our rhythm game, where you have to interact with. It's basically music based, and you interact with it in different ways. Next, we have the platformer game. Everyone knows our classic Super Mario Bros. Run around, collecting coins, collecting power ups, killing these little monsters, dodging these rockets, and then jumping down the little green worlds. Yeah, and then at the end you just get a total amount of points, or whilst also collecting giant gold coins, which do add up onto your points. Next, we have our sandbox game, Minecraft. Well, like Minecraft, where you're able to build whatever, do whatever you want within the confine. There's basically no rules, but you're confined to the limitations of the game itself. We have our simulator game. Simulator type games, Farming Simulator 21 is an example. You also have Goat Simulator, Bus Driving Simulator, American Truck Simulator, Trucking Simulator, and then there's racing simulators, which we call F1, Assetto Corsa, for an example. Role-playing games, or JRPGs. Ideally, this would be The Witcher, where you're basically playing as someone else from a different storyline. From a storyline, you play as that character, go through their story, go through the different adventures that they would have, and then it takes different turns based on whatever the developers are able to come up with. Then we have the MMORPGs, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Terrible example here of Fallout 76, because that was a failure of a game, but this would be an example. You play as a character with other players online, and then you complete quests and go on adventures together. Multiplayer co-op, everyone knows Call of Duty. You basically run around, getting a KD, kill to death ratio, get that up, rank up, and it's pretty much, you could call this the same game, just on a different game engine each time. But this year, not so much, because they wanted to keep it the same as Warzone, as Warzone is their best-selling game. I'm not a fan, but somehow Warzone is their best-selling game. As I mentioned before, racing simulators, Project Cars 3, 2, and 1, Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon would be a racing type simulator. Next, we have the fighter games. Dragon Ball FighterZ is a good example. Tekken, Street Fighter, Smash Bros. I'm probably missing some, but they're not all coming to mind right now. Story/narrative type games. Last of Us Part 2, Last of Us Remastered, Last of Us Uncharted, God of War, various different games that come under story/narrative, where you play as a character and you follow them through the entire story. You feel how they feel. You understand their emotions. Then we have strategy games where you're doing your very best to succeed. So Civilization would be a very good example of this game. I don't know much about it, but this was just an example that I came up with. Then you have turn-based games. Right here we have everyone's favorite Final Fantasy. You can see here the turn mechanic being implemented where you each get your own moves. You have moves. Each player has their own turn to go on, and you just basically select from there. Then we have the Battle Royale games. Fortnite did not deserve to be placed here, therefore Apex is here. But Fortnite would be an example, Apex Legends would be an example, Call of Duty Warzone would be an example. I'm pretty sure Black Ops 4 had its own Battle Royale system, I can't remember. Then we have the sports games, FIFA, NFL, NBA 2K22, NBA in general. Hockey, can't remember what they call that, NHL. Yeah, National Hockey League, NHL. Then you have the tycoon type of games where it's just massively open world, building cities, building civilizations together. Then we have our open world games. Everyone loves Breath of the Wild, great example. Open world, you travel amongst this world, complete tasks, complete quests, meet individuals, and then you complete the game, but the map is massive. So they implement a fast travel mechanic, which we'll get onto later. Adventure games. Pokemon, best example for an adventure game. You're traveling around, meeting different Pokemon, collecting different Pokemon, using them, befriending them, and meeting different people throughout the game as you travel across the entire region. Now onto our gacha game, where it's just pretty much turn-based, mobile turn-based. Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle is a good example. As well, I can't explain how this is a gacha game, I just know it very much is. Yeah, this game took up a lot of time. I've been playing it since day one of 5 years ago. And have about 7 different accounts for this, so I was clearly addicted to this. But anyways, onto the tropes within video games. We're going to take first trope. Say, take Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. This is a remake of the original Diamond and Pearl games on the Nintendo DS, but it's been revamped. It's got 3D animations to it, 3D characters, 3D sprites, and overall just added in better features to the game. So this game consists of you being the main character, traveling across the entire map, catching different Pokemon, training them in order to be able to take on other Pokemon trainers and then gym leaders. Once you do this, the player will then continue on to catch more Pokemon and complete the Pokédex, which is a database of all Pokemon. This is the additional challenge within the game. The tropes within Pokemon, well, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl to be specific, you have various music choices based on location in game. Say you're in battle, different music plays. Depending on location, different music plays. Basically, there's various different soundboards to this game. Items are placed all across the map in small little Pokeballs that you can pick up, or there's hidden items that you use a specific device in order to locate on the map as they're hidden. Also, there's a level system involved to make things more challenging. Fast travel is added about halfway into the game so that you can quickly fly to different locations instead of having to run and cycle all the way back. Further expanding Pokédex, yeah, this thing is consistent. There's like 800, 900 Pokemon now. When in 1990 we started on original 151, 152 if you count a glitch, but we'll get to that. Then we have Pokemon contests where you find creative ways to show off your Pokemon. This is unique to Pokemon itself and it just adds a more creative aspect to the game. Then you have the experience share, which makes it easier to train different Pokemon. which affects all Pokemon in your party. Then we go on to the original Pokemon games, where the original tropes for this game were link cable trading. So the Game Boy has a cable that allows you to connect to another Game Boy, and then the games, depending on how they were made, can interact with the two Game Boys and allow you to play against each other. Pokemon took advantage of this by allowing you to trade Pokemon and battle against other trainers, and they also added in Pokemon that could only be achieved by trading it in from another game or trading it, which then it evolves, allowing you to complete your Pokédex properly. Some old original Pokemon games allowed you to access different locations, so there was a wider map pretty much. You had 2 regions instead of 1 in certain games, and then it basically just allowed you to interact with more characters within the game and face more difficult challenges. Onto the experience share, as I mentioned prior, this allows for distribution of experience gained in battles to be shared with another Pokemon. In the original games, this only applied to the Pokemon that had the experience share on them. It didn't affect all Pokemon, making the game extremely more challenging when you want to level up certain Pokemon. Then we had game-breaking glitches. The original Pokemon games were known to have a glitch in it. A glitch or two. Sometimes you could duplicate items, or in the original games, Red, Blue and Yellow, there was a glitched Pokemon known as Missing No, or Missing Number. It didn't have a number, it wasn't supposed to be in the game, but sometimes you could come across it. By catching this glitch and saving the game, you could sometimes corrupt your save, therefore you'd have to start from the very beginning again, which felt like hell, but it was very fun to catch a Missing No or to interact with a Missing No, knowing that's a glitch within the game. Then we move on to our all-time favorite, Breath of the Wild. Everyone should know what this is, but for those that don't, I'm going to explain that it's an exploration adventure game where you play as Link traveling across a large world to the 4 tribes. And within these 4 tribes, there's different dungeons that you have to complete. And whilst also fighting off the various enemies that plague the world, all in order to defeat the evil antagonist at the very end and rescuing the princess. Tropes. They use the classic damsel in distress, evil antagonist and heroic protagonist in these games. But this is understandable considering Legend of Zelda is following the same dynamic it's been using since the GameCube or whenever it first came out. Has the main storyline and side quests so you don't get bored. And then you unlock different abilities through story progression, and different armors and weapons and tools through story progression, also through exploring as well. There's a lack of music whilst exploring, which is very rare in open world games. So you're basically using sound in order to interact with individuals, in order to understand the location of certain individuals and enemies on the map that are nearby. Along with having a fast travel system that's unlocked at some point within the game, and a stamina bar to make the game more challenging, especially after how you have to climb large mountains without running out of stamina, because if you do, you just fall straight back down and you will lose health or potentially die. Final game, Ratchet & Clank. This is an action platformer game and a third-person shooter. You play as a Lombax paired with Clank, who is a robot, and you travel around the universe protecting people from the forces of evil that are constantly threatening it. I.e., one Dr. Nefarious who will constantly keep popping up in every single game, or in most of the games, and will basically make your life a living hell. Then we have the tropes of the game. Normal fast travel system, various weapons, armors and tools. You unlock new abilities throughout your progression through the game. Also has double jump. Most games have double jump these days, but those that don't really do stand out. So this one just has a classic double jump. Unique tropes would be that the species of Ratchet was unknown for a long period of time, and players could only find it through playing through the game and unlocking a concept art. So in order to figure that out, you had to play through the game first in order to even find out what Ratchet was. Another unique trope would be casual interstellar travel, so you could hop between galaxies, which was made vastly easy in this game, as well it mainly focused on space travel and traveling to different planets and saving people. But overall, this would be genres and tropes in games and video games in general. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.